Hey guys, Keith here. 7 dumb things I've done in my life, and the list keeps growing. I'm telling you, it's longer than it is what I'm gonna give you tonight, but this is just what I can think of right off the top of my head. And this goes back to, when I was a teenager and stuff. The first one here. My wife and I were living in Tennessee. I was living in Tennessee when I met her, and then we got married and moved there, just outside of Nashville. I was pursuing songwriting, a career, and that kind of thing. And so I'm big into country music and all that stuff. And we were looking for a house there. Stopped at one of the grocery stores close by, and when you went in the double doors, there was a little section there, a little area, before you went on into the store. And you went through another set of double doors. In that area, there was, car ads for cars, and excuse me, I got choked up here. And real estate ads, and books and things like that. So I went in to get a real estate book, and I'm standing there, and this guy walks up behind me, and I just hear this voice. I'm not paying attention to who it is. I've seen people come out, and he said, "Hey, they got one of those magazines that got the deals on wheels." And I thought, oh my gosh, because I recognized his voice. It was Bobby Bare. Now, if you don't know Bobby Bare, he's great country music singer. He had Detroit City out back probably 60s, I guess, is when that came out. Last night I fell asleep in Detroit City. I don't sound like Bobby Bare, but anyway. Mel Tillis actually wrote that song, but he did Marie Laveau, about the Voodoo Woman and Numbers, and he was just great character. He was just awesome, and just fun, always funny and stuff like that. And if you ever watched All My Rowdy Friends Are Coming Over Tonight, Hank Jr. video, I think the first chorus where he says, "Do you want a drink?" and Bobby Bare's holding up a bottle of Jack Daniels, and kind of lip syncing drank. But anyway, so I turned around and I'm like, "It's Bobby Bare." And I stuck my hand out, and I'm just like, starstruck, right? And I think I'd be a lot smoother today, but this was a few years back, and I didn't know what to say. I was just, like I say, starstruck. And his wife's standing there, and she's like, "Yeah, it's Bobby Bare." Like, big whoop, And I felt like such an idiot. I didn't know what to say. I did not know what to say. Later on, I thought of a bunch of stuff it would have been cool to say. Maybe got his autograph. I don't know. Just, tell him I liked his music or something. I don't know. But I just stood there like I didn't know. I'm just shaking. Saying, "Hey, his hat on, his cowboy hat he wore, and everything." It was. But anyway, I really botched that whole meeting up. But anyway, that's one of them things. This next one. Number 2, this wasn't all my fault, but I was down here. My wife's from Virginia, and I was down here one time. I don't think it was for the wedding. I don't believe it was. But anyway, it seemed like there was something going on, and they wanted me to go to Lowe's and get Pepsi. And I thought, that's odd. I didn't know Lowe's sold Pepsi, now they got clothes, but mostly they got hardware, right? But I went to Lowe's, and I looked for Pepsi. I thought, well, maybe it's something special they got, And I didn't find any Pepsi. Finally asked the guy, I was like, "Hey, you all got any Pepsi here?" And he was like, "Might be some back there in the vending machine." And I thought, what? They sent me on a wild goose chase. Turns out there's a Lowe's Foods in, I don't know where all it's at, but in North Carolina anyway. And so that wasn't all my fault because I didn't know the area and I didn't know. But anyway, I still, kind of made a fool out of myself, which is not, all that odd really for me. It's kind of an everyday thing, you know what I mean? When I open my mouth, it's going to get bad. It's just going to get that way. I don't know why, but so anyway, when I was a teenager, my first car was a Firebird Formula. Yeah. And 1979 Firebird. So the Smokey and the Bandit, era. Man, it was nice. Red velour interior, T-tops. Oh, it was sweet. Sweet, sweet car. And one day it just wasn't driving. I went home. I was about 5 miles. I worked at the grocery store. And I was driving home, and it just didn't have a lot of power. That went on for 2 or 3 days. And so my buddies that worked there, they come out and looked at it. And this other guy that hung out there once in a while, he come out there and he said, "I don't know what to be going." They drove it, I think, and couldn't figure it out. He finally looked down and he's like, "How long's that parking brake been on?" And I was like, "Oh, crap." Turned out it had been on about 3 days, you know. So I went to get my hair cut, and it was on an incline. I didn't hardly ever use the parking brake, and I had left that darn thing on. So anyway, they had a good laugh about that. Probably needed new brakes after that too. But anyway, other thing, number 4, I was sitting in church. I was going out with this girl. I don't remember us ever going out really. We went to church together. I don't remember much about our relationship for some reason, but except this incident. We were sitting in church one Sunday, and I remember there was a couple of girls about my age, or about our age, behind me, you know. And I was like really backward back then, terribly backward and shy. You wouldn't know it now, but I was. Back then it was horrible. I was the shyest person that I've ever known in my life, honestly. Never met anybody as shy as I was back then. Anyway, but I thought I'm going to be cool and I'm going to put my arm around her, you know. And I don't even know if I was doing it for her or to impress the girls behind me. I don't even know, you know, knowing me. But I thought I'd be kind of cool and just, you know, put my arm around her. And I hit her in the head with my elbow pretty hard. I mean, pretty solid. Whew. I mean, it had to left a mark. You know what I mean? It had to hurt. And I think I went ahead and put my arm around her, but I know them girls back there was laughing. And I don't think we ever talked about it after that. I felt so bad. Felt so bad about it. It's like, you idiot. Good Lord, you're smooth right there. Mr. Smooth. All right, let's see. Number 5. Yeah, number 5. I went most of my life, you know, like I said, I was very shy, and so I didn't order. When we'd go to a restaurant, my dad would order, you know, even fast food or anything. And I think about the first time I ever ordered was probably when this incident happened. I was probably 18, 19, something. And I was in McDonald's, and they just come out with McNuggets. That was a new thing. I don't remember what year that came out. Those came out, but anyway, I wanted some McNuggets. And for some reason, I can say McNuggets pretty clear. McNuggets. I don't even have to think about it. But for some reason, I got tongue-tied. Like I said, I was real shy, and I had trouble talking. And I didn't stutter normally, but I could not say McNuggets. I couldn't get that out. Mac and Nugget, I don't know what I was saying or what I said, how I said it, but I didn't say it right. And I kept trying to say it, and the guy finally, you know, he figured out what I should have just said. Give me a Big Mac. I can say that, you know. But anyway, he figured out what I needed. But oh, so embarrassing. I was just like, you idiot. You can't talk. You can't do anything. I swear. It was just bad. This was kind of a similar thing too. I was in church. It's number 6 here. They had youth Sunday one Sunday. Same church where I hit the girl in the head. Matter of fact, it was this buddy of mine was her cousin, and so youth Sunday came around. He preached that Sunday, and I led the music. And then he taught the adult Sunday school class before church, and he had me in there with him. And I wasn't good at reading out loud because, like I said, I was shy, and I could read, but reading out loud, I just got nervous and tongue-tied, and I didn't like doing it. Oh, I hated it. You know, teacher called on me. I was just like, please call on somebody else. I don't want to talk. But anyway, he called on me, and I hadn't studied the scripture, but he wanted me to read this passage, you know. And it was talking about the bridegroom, and I didn't look it up. I can't remember what the passage was. I'm not sure I remember it, but anyway, it was where it was talking about the bridegroom. And for some reason, when I looked at that, it looked like bridge groom, you know, because there was no G after the D, but except for the G in groom. And I guess I was seeing that, and it was fine for, and I just. And it wasn't in there once. It was in there in that passage, I bet 3 times. And I said bridge groom every single. You thought I'd said it the first time, and they were like, "Oh, he goofed up. He just read it wrong." But no, I read it the same way every time. I got it wrong all 3 times. I was consistent, you know. And of course, he had a good laugh about it, you know, after service. It wasn't very funny. It's funny now, but at the time I was embarrassed because I didn't know, I wasn't very good at talking, you know. But anyway, so the bridge groom, it's bridegroom, just so you know, for any Bible scholars out there. All right, last one here, number 7, is I was driving one time. I was early 20s, I guess, and I was driving somewhere. Might have been driving a little faster than the speed limit, or I was worried about it, but I had a couple of beers too, you know, and so I think I was worried about that more than the driving. And anyway, this car comes up behind me with a flashing light on. It wasn't a blue light or red light. It was just a flashing light, and I got freaked out and I pulled over. And I'm like, oh no! And I get my license out, and I'm sitting there, and it took a while. Finally, a guy walks up. And it's dark out, I couldn't see. He said, hey, he said, how's it going? I said, all right. He said, I just came to see what the fire was all about. And I thought he was being smart aleck, like I was driving fast enough to go to, like I was going to a fire, like the old cliche they say. And I was like, oh yeah, a good one, kind of. And I was handing him my license, and he took my license, looked at it, and he's like, you think you're speeding? I said, I might have been a little bit. He said, okay, well. He said, I just came over to see what the fire was all about. He said, I'm a fire marshal here. And he pointed over this way and looked over, and there's a big fire, a house fire or something over there. And he was literally looking at the fire, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, got you. He's like, but if you think you're speeding, maybe you ought to slow down a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I will. I'll do that. What an idiot. Good Lord. That's just 7 of them. That's just 7 I can think of. There's more to come, I guarantee it. But anyway, I appreciate y'all tuning in. And if you could give us a thumbs up on this, subscribe to us. And there's a place out there you can buy me a coffee. I love coffee. And you can buy me 1 or 10 or however you want to. But anyway, help support the channel a little bit. But there's a link. You can't click on it, but you can copy it and paste it and everything. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. And let me know in the comments of some of the dumb things you've done if you want to share. I'm dumb enough to share them. A lot of people are like, I don't want to talk about the dumb things I've done. I'm trying to forget them, for crying out loud. And here I'm making a video about them. But anyway, I hope you're having a great one. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks.